just sure. Hi everyone. Welcome to Unwind Friday with Hands to Heart Center. My name's Megan. I'll be teaching today's class. Hands to Heart Center is a trauma-informed yoga program for all bodies and all people. And we're so grateful to have partnered with the Boston Public Library to be able to host these classes. So we're gonna begin. Let me just quickly adjust my camera so you can see me. All right, great. So we're gonna start in a seated position. You can cross your legs in front of you. Bring your big toes to touch. Right underneath you. Let your knees come nice and wide and bring your hands on top of your knees. You can close your eyes. Start to allow yourself to really arrive here on your mat. Allowing your shoulders to relax. Your back, your hips. And then seal your lips and take a big breath in through your nose, filling up. And then take a big open mouth exhale. Allow yourself to soften a little bit more. And then bring your hands to heart center. Your thumb knuckles can touch at your chest and let your elbows spread nice and wide. Push your hands together. Let your chest be nice and strong. Breath in together, filling up. And letting go. Awesome. Bring your feet nice and wide along your mat. Flex your toes towards your face. Be here for just one moment. Sorry about that. I want to make sure people can see and hear me okay. So with your legs spread nice and wide here. Bring your hands up overhead. Take a big breath in. And then fold forward. Flex your toes out towards the sides of the room, stretching along your inner thighs. Take a few breaths here, opening up through your inner thighs, flexing through the toes to protect your knees, slight bend in your knees, and continue to fold forward. For anyone that's been stuck indoors, cramped up at a computer, or maybe out being active today, this is a great pose to just unwind, stretch your mid-back, really melt forward. Think about any tension or stress rolling off the top of your head, feeling lighter and a little bit more relieved as you breathe. Take a big inhale, a little bit more forward, crawl your fingertips forward. Keep your toes nice and flexed towards the ceiling. From here, take your right hand and center right on top of that right foot. Lift your left arm nice and high, take an inhale, and then reach for those right toes. The finger can cross right here, but keep your chest open towards the left. And now start to dial your chest down towards that right foot, coming into a nice hamstring stretch along the back of the right leg. Take a few deep breaths here. And with every exhale, fold a little deeper. Slowly come on up. Take an inhale, lift the arms up overhead. Keep those toes flexed up towards the ceiling. Reach for that left toe, so those left arms. Take an inhale, open up the chest towards the right. And then reach up and over with your right hand. Stay here for a few moments. Okay, this is not my usual place where I'm teaching, so I just don't know if you can see me very well. It's kind of bad. All right, I hope that's a little better for you guys. All right. And then from here, start to turn your chest towards your left toes. Keep your left toes flexed. Few breaths here, stretching along the back side of this left leg here. And keep your toes nice and flexed and keep folding forward. Few more breaths. All right, and then from here, from the seated position, release your feet and find one more big stretch, big inhale. And then fold forward a little more. Keep those toes pointed out. Very slowly crawl your hands back up towards your face and bring your feet together in cobbler's pose. Wrap your hands around your feet, bind your feet together. Push your big toes to touch and extend through your spine. Drop your shoulders away from your ears. Few breaths like this. Breathing in and breathing out. Allow your knees to release your thighs. See if you can unclench your jaw. Soften your brow. Soften through the legs. Big breath in. And a big breath out. Meet me in tabletop. Stacking your shoulders right over your wrists. Nice long flat spine. Push the tops of your feet into your mat. Allow your shoulders to rock away from your ears. Push the mat away from you. Take a few cat-cow tilts on your own. If you've never done cat-cow, you can look up here for a reference. We're flexing through the spine. We're waking up the body. It's a nice pose to do, especially if you don't have a lot of time to stretch and move today. Just give your back some love. Maybe your joints bending at the elbows, dropping the chest nice and low, maybe moving the hips from side to side. Find that tabletop once more. Keep pushing down into your mat with both hands and the tops of your feet. And find that child's pose. Big toes touch, knees come out. Allow the chest to drop down. Bring your intention to your breath here. Close your eyes. Allow yourself some big open mouth exhales. Let the space be safe and comfortable. And keep reaching your fingertips forward, stretching along the back side of the body. Stretching all the way from the tailbone towards the tips of your fingers. Let the spine be long. Send your arms back behind you and bind your fingers at your lower back. Let your head and your neck release fully on your mat. From here, lift the bind up off your back and come into rabbit pose. You're going to lift your hips up off your mat and then pull the bind all the way towards the front of your mat. Keep your big toes touching. Feel the opening through the chest. And then release child's pose. Arms come out alongside you, hips float back. Come into a tabletop. From tabletop, you're going to bend at your elbows and start to lower all the way down onto your belly. Bring your feet to mats with distance apart. And very slowly start to lift your chin, heart, chest, shoulders, pull back, low cobra pose. So keep shifting the weight into the back body. Squeeze the thighs. Engage your lower back. Engage your mid-back by squeezing your elbows together, pulling your shoulders together. Squeeze like there's a grate between them. Crack open your chest with every exhale. One more deep breath in, forehead to mat exhale. Few breaths here. Maybe release your hips by shimmying your shins from side to side. Let the legs fall long. Low cobra pose once more. Lift the heart and the chest. Deep breath in. And release the forehead on the mat. Extend the arms out like a T. And then from here, you're going to rock over onto your right shoulder and your right hip, allowing the left body to come up. Left hand pushes into your mat. Hold here for a few breaths. Feeling the opening along the shoulder blade. Rock back to center. Set this up on the other side. Left arm comes long. Rock onto your left side. Yeah. Very slowly rock back onto your belly. Bring your hands right underneath your shoulders and lift up for that low cobra pose, but extend your arms. You're in seal pose. Open up your lower back. Open up your chest. Send your shoulders down your back. Child's pose. Send the hips nice and back. One round of breath here. Deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Find yourself to downward facing dog, lifting your hips nice and high. Letting your spine be nice and long. Bending at the knees, bending one knee and then the other. Stretching through the back body. You can bend your knees a lot here, especially if your hamstrings are tight. If it hurts your wrist, come into tabletop. Take an inhale. Extend the heels down as you exhale. Full downward facing dog. Take an inhale, look forward, bend the knees, belly to knees, and start to walk your feet up towards your hands, ragdoll pose, opposite hand to opposite elbow. Take a big inhale, and then drop the head and the neck. Let yourself hang heavy here. Imagine as your hips lift towards the ceiling, the tailbone gets higher, and the head drops towards your mat, getting lower and heavier. And then drop your hands by your sides. If you can, heel toe your big toes to touch. Slight bend in the knees, find a flat back. Really lengthen your spine. Push your hands in towards your shins. Forward fold. Halfway lift, hands to shins. Maybe send your arms out like a T, open up the chest. Slight bend in the knees. Fire up the quads. Big inhale. And then fold forward. And from here, rise to stand. Sweep your arms up overhead. Oop, big breath in. And then sink into chair pose. Send your hips back. Heart forward. Send your arms forward. I apologize in advance for how this class looks visually. I hope you're all with me. Sink your hips a little lower. Inhale. Forward fold. Exhale. Find a halfway lift. Breathing in. Forward fold. Halfway lift again. Maybe open up your chest, arms out like a T. Big inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades. Forward fold. Upward salute, so sweep those arms up overhead. Even if you can't see me, stay with me. Chair pose, sink the hips back. Squeeze the quads together. Send your arms back like airplane wings. Squeeze your shoulders. Sink into the chair. Fold forward. Halfway lift, breathing in. Step your left foot back. Low runner's lunge. So low runner's lunge, let your hips rock back. And then pull your left heel forward, dropping that left hip down. Push into your right foot. Push into your fingertips or the palms of your hands. Keep pushing into that foot. Feel your glute engage. Take an inhale. Pyramid pose. Straighten that right leg. Drop that back left heel. Options to step that back foot up as much as you need. Take a few mindful breaths here. Breathing in and breathing out. Couple more. Keep that right foot forward. Awesome. From here, come back into low runner's lunge. So bending at that right knee. Send that left leg nice and back. From here, you're going to inhale, lift the heart and the chest. Drop that left knee. Come all the way up to crescent moon, arms sweep up overhead. Take a few mindful breaths in crescent moon. Stay as you are. Keep rocking your hips forward. A few more breaths. Inhale. And exhale, sink the hips a little lower. Bring your hands down to frame your right foot. Take an inhale. In half split pose, send your hips back. Flex the big toes towards your face. Keep sinking the hips further back. And then find that length in your spine. So lift your heart and your chest. Let your hips rock back. But then hinge from your hips so you're really folding forward. Come back into that low crescent moon pose. Arms lift up overhead. Take an inhale. And then bind your fingers behind your head, sink your hips nice and low. Let's open up the chest by squeezing the shoulder blades together and lifting the chin. Open mouth exhales. Half split pose, folding forward. Sending the hips all the way back. And then find a low runner's lunge, lift that back left knee. Holding here. And then wide-legged forward fold. So start to bring your hands inside of that right foot. And then start to turn the body. So you come into a wide-legged forward fold. I'm going to face you so you can see me. In your forward fold, allow your hands to rest down on your mat. Bending one knee and then the other. Push your feet down. Keep letting the body hang heavy here, all the way from your hips towards your mat. I want you to imagine that you're pulling through the strength of the back of the body instead of sinking into your joints. So protect your knees, your ankles, your hips. Find a halfway lift. Bend into the left knee and sink the hips nice and low towards the left, coming onto that left heel. Bring your hands right inside that left leg. Lift your right arm nice and high, and then lift that right toes off your mat and dial them up towards the ceiling, and then start to dial them towards the back of your mat. So we're in a Skandasana squat. Keep lifting heart and chest. Find the spinal twist. Use the left inner elbow against the thigh to really open up the chest. Come back to that wide-legged forward fold. And then one vertebrae at a time, rise all the way to stand. From stand, 10 all 10 toes towards the front of your mat. Step your right foot up to meet your left. Inhale, sweep the arms up, upward salute. Forward fold as you exhale. Find a flat back, lengthen your spine. This time we're going to step our right foot back for low runner's lunge on the left. Push into the left foot with your mat. Really start to engage your core. Engage that left glute. Sink the hips nice and low. Send the right heel forward. Pull the left hip back. Really push into that left foot. Get a little warm. And then slowly drop onto that right knee. Crescent moon, arms lift up nice and high. Take an inhale. And then sink low into the hips, pushing into the left foot. Staying nice and tall here. If you're a little limber through the hips and it feels good, feel free to drop down and in to the strength of that left foot, but keep pushing down. Protect the knee. Few breaths. Maybe lift your gaze. Allow the shoulders to ease down away from the ears. And then on the exhale, hands frame the left foot. And half split pose, kick the hips back. Flex the left toes towards the base. Again, lead, open up the chest, and then lead from your hips, hinging forward, finding a little bit of a forward fold here. Keep stretching through the back of the body, all the way up the hamstring. Flexing through the toes. Awesome. Come back into that crescent moon. Stand the foot down, lift the arms up overhead. This time, bind the fingers at the back of the head, sink the hips down, and squeeze the shoulder blades together. Really open up through that right hip. Give yourself that thoracic spine opener. Keep lifting through the chest. Open mouth exhales. Come back to that high half split pose. This time, fold a little deeper, maybe coming onto that right heel with the hips. Really extending through this left foot. Few breaths here. Very slowly, low runner's lunge. on the left. So you're going to place your left leg down, lift that back right knee. Pull right hip back, left hip forward. Bring the left hand inside the left foot. Wide-legged forward fold. And wide-legged forward fold, same thing. Get out of the joints. Stay in the strength of the legs. And really melt forward from the hips. Taking a spinal twist, left hand drops. Right arm lifts nice and high. Open up the chest. Push into the hands and the feet and send the hips back. Heart is forward. Send that left shoulder blade underneath the right, finding that spinal twist. Drop that right hand down, and then lift that left arm nice and high. Yeah. Keep pulling that right shoulder blade down, left shoulder blade up. Forward fold. Very slowly find a halfway lift, so find a nice flat back. Come onto the tops of the fingers, bend that right knee, sink the hips low, lift that right heel, drop the hips down. Bring that right elbow inside of the right leg and lift that left arm nice and high, finding that chest opener, and maybe rotating those left big toes up towards the ceiling. Opening up through the inner thighs, letting the hips rotate open, lifting the heart and the chest, breathing down into the center of your chest. Forward fold, come on up. Heel toe your feet about 2 feet apart. Send your toes out, heels in, bend in the knees, and you're gonna drop into a yogi squat. If you have a pillow, you can place it right underneath your sit bones. Otherwise, engage your core, lift from your pelvic floor. So think about your pelvic floor as a bowl, and I want you to think about tilting it up towards your chin to really engage that lower part of your body. And then I want you to really open up your hips using the contact of your elbows to your knees, and let your core and the heels of your feet, the big toe mounds, the pinky toe mounds, be the foundation for you here. And really rotate that pelvic floor up. Keep opening the chest. Close your eyes and breathe in soothing inhales towards the outer hips. Every exhale, letting you feel a little bit of release, a little bit of relief by bringing your attention to your body and your breath. Drop your hands down and slowly come into that halfway lift, hands to shins, or hands to hips, then rise all the way to stand. So now 10 toes towards the front of the room and step your right foot up to meet your left. Upward salute, sweep the arms up high. You know where I'm going if you can't see me. And then fold forward on your exhale. Find a halfway lift. Really lengthen your spine, let it be nice and long. Forward fold. Halfway lift, take an inhale. Open chest. Inhale. Forward fold. Upward salute, reach up, big inhale. Chair pose, sink the hips back. Squeeze the thighs together. Take an inhale. And then an exhale. One more time, breathing in and breathing out. Sink your weight into your left foot this time, so your weight is in your left foot. We're going to come into airplane pose. Bring the right knee in towards your chest, send your arms back behind you, and very slowly kick it back. This is a really good ankle stabilizer. It'll engage your left glute, your inner right thigh. Keep your right big toes dialed down in towards your inner lining of your left thigh. Keep your chest nice and open. Option here to engage the mid-back is extend the arms forward. Finding a nice long T with the body. Big inhale. Forward fold as you exhale. Woo. Tip your feet to hips width distance apart. Ragdoll pose, or you can find gorilla pose. You walk the soles of the hands right underneath the soles of the feet. Bending the knees a lot, and then rocking the head forward and down. Take a few breaths. Big exhales. Keep thinking about lifting the tailbone and extending the spine. I want you to try to keep your rib cage right on your thighs, to not strain yourself as you try to find this deep release and stretch. Keep your belly on your thighs, so every time you're lifting your hips, you're folding and melting towards the mat a little more with the upper body, but not going any further. Slowly release the hands. Heel toe those big toes to touch. Find a flat back, lengthen your spine. Fold forward. Come right into your chair pose. Sink your hips back, lift your arms. Rock your weight into your right foot this time. Airplane pose, send that left leg back behind you. Open up the chest. Stabilize yourself with your left foot. Flex through that foot. Push down into your mat with your right. Keep dropping that left hip down. Option here is to extend your arms forward again, finding that T pose. One more inhale, and then fold forward. Halfway lift, take an inhale, high plank pose, step it back. High plank pose, hold here. Push down into your mat with your arms. Slowly lower to your knees, and then lower all the way down to your belly. Keep the arms as they are, and then meet me in upward facing dog, lifting the heart and the chest, squeeze the thighs, and then downward facing dog is over the toes. Take an inhale, take an exhale. Lift your right leg nice and high. Bend the knee, and then peel open the hip so your hip opens towards the right. And then straighten that right leg. Point the right toe, and open up a little more. Bend the right knee. And then bring your knee to your nose. Half pigeon pose. Send your right toes towards the left side of your mat. Start to sink your hips back. Left foot pushes down into your mat. Lift your heart and your chest. From here, start to fold forward, allowing the head to be nice and heavy. Really start to allow the upper body to release into this pose. Allow yourself time to focus on your breathing, to focus on using it as an anchor to keep you in the present. Imagining your breath traveling into that right outer hip and working to loosen, to unirritate, to heal. Let this pose really feel good for you. Let your body melt. I think pigeon pose is often called an emotional pose because we do hold so much tension in our hips. So see if you can use this moment to relieve some of that tension, that guck, that stuck stuff. And how to feel a little unsticky. Using your breath and opening up your hip by just remaining in this pose. And very slowly walk the hands back towards the hips so you're coming upright. You're going to swing both legs around so you're in seated forward fold. Your legs will extend out in front of you. Flex your toes towards your face. And then from here, take an inhale, lift the arms, and then fold forward, grabbing for those outer feet. And then slowly release. Come up onto your knees. So you're seated here. Feet are back behind you. And then from here, bring your hands to the back of your tailbone. Fingers point up. Squeeze your elbows together. Open the chest. Bring it towards the ceiling. Baby camel pose. Shift the hips forward. Lift the heart and the chest. Find the opener. And release. Come onto all 10 toes, so all 10 toes are now on your mat. Start to sink the hips back and slowly bring your hands on top of your thighs and sink the weight back so you feel the stretch along your feet. If it's too much, release one foot down. Close your eyes. Try to breathe into this pose. We spend so much time walking, running, just putting all of our weight on our feet, and we don't give them enough love. So see if you can find this moment in toe stretch to give them some love. If it really starts to bother you, you feel pain, you do one foot at a time. Awesome. Find a tabletop. Extend your right leg long down your mat. Extend your left arm out in front of you. Tiger pose. Kick that right foot up towards the ceiling, 90-degree bend. Dial the left thumb down and grab that right ankle with your left hand. Finding a nice quad stretch and a chest opener. Drop the belly. Lift the chest. Kick into the hand. Slowly release the foot. Gate pose, step it towards the right. Foot comes down and start to come all the way up in gate pose. So your right foot is planted down on the mat, right in line with your left hip. Put your arms up overhead, and you're going to come into a side body stretching gate pose. You can look up here for the reference. Right hand drops, left arm lifts up and over. Make your way to downward facing dog. Sweep the arms forward. Lift the hips up and back. Bending one knee and then the other. Left foot is gonna extend up, three-legged dog. Bend the knee and yawn open that hip. So your hips stack and your left hip is open. Extend the left leg nice and long. Keep the left foot flexed. Keep dialing those hips open. Bend the knee again. Find that three-legged dog, knee to nose, pigeon pose. Parallel the shin with your mat. Allow the right hip to rock back. Take your inhale, and then on your exhale, start to fold from your hips. This time, really sinking our weight into our left glute, our left hamstring, our left hip. Close your eyes and start to bring your awareness back to your breath. And use that visual clue of breathing in, healing into that left outer hip. With a nice open mouth exhale, leaving you feel more released, more relieved, more at ease. Soothing inhales, nice cleansing exhales. Very slowly, start to walk your hands back towards your hips, allowing the spine to be nice and long. And then swing both legs around. Sitting that in front of you. This time, bring your right knee in towards your chest. Hug it in. Plant that right foot down, so your right heel is right at the knee. You're going to sweep your right hand outside your right hip. Left arm comes around, finding a nice twist. Flex through the left foot. See if you can turn your gaze all the way to the back of your mat, finding the spinal rinse. And release. Bring that left leg in towards your chest for a moment, squeeze it in, and then set it up. Twist towards the left arm behind, right arm sweeps up and over. And really start to feel that nice spinal rinse. Maybe send your gaze back. Release. Come a long way on your mat. And we're going to come into somewhat of a groin stretch, so you can, an inner thigh stretch, so you can actually pad up your mat by bringing the long sides of your mat in towards the center. And place both of your knees nice and wide. Bring your hands right underneath your shoulders. You're going to slowly shimmy your knees out to the wider edges of that mat and make sure your heels are in line. So if it's from the side, it'll look like this. And then from here, you're going to sink your hips back, and you're going to come down onto your forearms. Some people might be able to stretch their arms forward and fold a little deeper. If it's really uncomfortable, I highly recommend, if you have one, placing like a pillow, a blanket, something right between legs to kind of allow you to release and relax instead of holding yourself here. Otherwise, start to really folding forward and down, keeping your feet flexed and opening up through those inner thighs, the groin. See if you can release in the smaller areas like your brow, your jaw, the tip of your tongue, your fingers, your arms, shoulders, hips, toes. Release. A few more rounds of breath here. Breathe into this pose. And very slowly, bring yourself to a tabletop, wherever you are. You can kick out your mat if you want. I'm going to do so. And from tabletop, take a few cat-cows. Flexing through the spine. And releasing to that tabletop. Holding a tabletop, we're going to come in and thread the needle. One more spinal twist. So lift your right arm nice and high, open up the chest. Send that right arm underneath the left elbow, coming down onto that right chin or cheek. And extend your left arm way out in front of you. See if you can really push into your mat with your right arm, so you feel that right shoulder blade crawling underneath your left. Think of this as a spinal twist, so let it twist a little deeper. Maybe reach that right arm out a little longer. Bring that left hand underneath your left shoulder. Lift your right arm nice and high. Come back to tabletop. Left arm lifts nice and high. Thread the needle, send that right arm underneath the right, and extend your right arm out in front of you. Again, push that left arm into your mat and almost crawl your left hand under so you can really feel yourself twisting. Maybe send your gaze up towards the ceiling. Send your right shoulder blade down your mat. Deepen the twist. Come back to tabletop. One more chest opener, similar to locust, but different. Sorry, not locust. Similar to a few poses that we've done before. So you're going to walk your hands forward, keep your hips where they are, and then slowly start to lift your hips up towards the ceiling, arc your spine, and come down onto your chin, feeling a nice shoulder blade opener. Breathe into your shoulders. Tabletop. Come to a seat. Legs are outstretched forward. Bring your hands right underneath your shoulders. Fingers point towards the front of your mat. Feet are hips width distance apart. You're going to come up into a reverse tabletop. Lifting your hips up towards the ceiling, engaging your glutes a little bit, opening up the chest. Maybe allow the head and the neck to rock back. Keep pushing into the mat with your feet. I'm going to walk mine forward. Use your thighs. Four corners of your feet lift a little higher. Keeping your shoulders where they are, just lower the hips down. Fish pose, extend the legs nice and long, point the toes. Your hands are going to come underneath your sit bones, your glute bones. And you're going to extend the elbows out to the wider edges of your mat. Lift your heart and your chest. Allow the head and the neck to release. If it's too much on your neck, keep your chin tilted towards your chest like this. Very slowly release the hands from underneath your sit bones. Come on down onto your mat all the way. Bring your knees in towards your chest and massage your lower back down on your mat. Maybe moving in one direction and then the other. Letting your back be nice and long, especially after all that movement through the spine and class. Find stillness here. And then happy baby pose. You can grab the outsides of the thighs, wrap your arms around, the outsides of the thighs and grab your thighs. Or bring your elbows inside of the knees and grab the outsides of your feet and then kick your feet up towards the ceiling. Just as much as your arms, pull your knees down towards your armpits to really allow the lower back to flatten down on your mat. You can flex through the toes. You can find movement here, wiggling side to side, or be nice and still, feeling that generous opening through the hips, feeling your spine long on your mat. And pull your shoulders away from your ears. Tuck your chin towards your chest. Full body inhale. Open mouth exhale. Big inhale. Fog the window with your exhale. Slowly release the feet. Send them down towards your mat. Lift the hips in bridge pose. Just a restorative bridge. Push your arms down. Engage your glutes in the back of your thighs. Maybe lift your toes up off your mat so you're balancing on your heels. And then lower your hips down. Allow the right leg to be long. Left knee pulls in towards your chest. Supine twist towards the left. Drop that leg towards the right. Left arm extends long. Close your eyes and breathe into the left lung and into your lower back. Find the unclenching from something through your back body with every exhale. Roll back onto your mat. Nice long flat spine, full body stretch, arms and legs come long. And then pull your right knee in towards your chest. And then find a supine twist. Right leg drops towards the left, open up your chest. Breathe into your right side body and your lower back. Soothing exhales. Rock back onto your mat. And find another full body stretch so arms and legs come long. Lower back lifts. And then pull your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a hug. And then kick your legs up towards the ceiling, feet up the wall pose. And extend your arms as well. And let your hands fall limp at your wrists. Relax your feet. Relax your legs. Relax your arms, your hands, back body. Slow your breath. Feel the lactic acid drain down from our standing work. And then very slowly you're going to lower into corpse pose, final resting pose in Shavasana. This pose requires no engagement. Open up your palms towards the ceiling. Pull your shoulder blades away from your ears, a nice little self-assist. Allow your right toes to turn out towards the sides of the room. And take a nice breath in. And then a big breath out. Allow your eyes to close. Seal your lips. And then take an inhale through your nose. Sip in air through your lips at the top, like you're sipping in air through a straw. Hold that breath in. Feel really, really full. With control, start to release your breath, moving into Shavasana in final resting pose. I encourage you to grab a layer, to be comfortable and warm, staying here for a few moments. And take another big inhale. And with your exhale, start to bring movement back into your body, wiggling your fingers and your toes. Allow your jaw to soften, as well as your eyes, your shoulders, your hips. Take another breath in. And find fetal pose on your exhale, rocking over onto your right side. Hold yourself there for a moment. And just notice the feeling you've cultivated through your practice, outside of the guidance of an instructor, or anything else that you might be holding on to that brought you here. Know that it was you and only you. And this feeling is available to you at all times. It's just a matter of tapping into it. And with gratitude for your body and your breath and your ability to be here today and to allow time for yourself, rock up into a seat and bring your hands to heart center in expression of full gratitude, thinking about the elbows as an extension of whatever you've cultivated at heart space through your practice. Keeping the eyes closed, extend your spine a little longer in a comfortable seat. And take a nice big breath in. Follow the window with your exhale. One more time, breathe in. And then breathe out. Bring your hand up to your third eyebrow, your center of intuition, and recognize that same gratitude we see in ourselves, in our bodies, and for our breath. We should also extend out to each other and our community and our relationships and into this world. And with gratitude, we bow and we say, Namaste. Namaste. Namaste, everyone. Thanks for attending this Hands to Heart Center class. I hope regardless of the challenges we had with my viewing screen, you enjoyed class and got what you need out of it on this Friday. Please be safe and be well, and make sure to tune into our Hands to Heart Center YouTube channel whenever you can. Thanks a lot for your time. I appreciate it. Have a good rest of your weekend.